2 is the new moon in Aquarius. And the planet that rules Aquarius, I'm going to talk about Uranus. Welcome in. Hope your day is going well. So you pull up Exhibit A. About first, to let you know, first and foremost, a new moon is when the sun and the moon are together in perfect alignment. Notice the degrees, 28 degrees, 48 arc minutes for the moon, 28 arc minutes, 28 degrees, 48 arc minutes for the sun. That might be 49, might be a second off. This is a moment before, this is a minute before the new moon, actually. Close enough. And remember in earlier videos, I talked about how important it is to notice what zodiac sign is rising when a celestial event happens, a major celestial event. We looked at Saturn's ingress into Aries. We also looked, Saturn back into Aries. And we also looked back at when Saturn initially ingressed into Aries. We have that in an earlier video. Check that out. However, Pisces is rising here. So what does this mean? I'm be looking at my notes here. Shannon, before I look at my notes, let me freestyle here. The moment that the sun and the moon come together, Pisces is rising. And be mindful that this is for the East Coast. If you're in a different part of the world, you would need an astrologer to configure, or you can do it yourself. You can use Astro Gold, which is this app that I use, or you can use astro.com or AstroSeek. Those are the three apps and sites that I would share with you to use to find this, because the city and state matters and determines the zodiac sign that's rising, as well as the degree of that rising sign. Okay. We'll get into degrees in a later video. So when both of the lights, we call the sun and the moon the lights, are in Aquarius, the emotional tone and conscious focus align. It's an alignment. And I say, it is said and can be said that this alignment is based on the zodiac sign that's present. So sun and moon in Aquarius. Key motto for Aquarius is I know. And while the sun and the moon are in alignment in an element of air and knowledge, the zodiac sign Pisces is rising, which adds into the flavor. It adds this beautiful, sensual, compassionate, and empathetic nature. So quite simply, we can put knowledge and empathy together in the sharing of knowledge or in an empathetic way. Welcome in. Cancer Sun, how are you? Sidebar. Cancer's here. This new moon in Aquarius, if we look at the new moon in relation to Cancer, we find Cancer in a compartment of the chart where themes surrounding health occur. And if we look at Cancer and its relationship to Aquarius, it points to themes surrounding a rebirth. Placing the two together, that combination breeds a rebirth through health and wellness practices, as well as routines. Briefly, stay tapped in. I'm going over the meaning of the sun in Aquarius, moon in Aquarius. Okay, that Gemini moon is impacted because of the fact that Gemini is an air sign, it's part of the Aquarius family. right? So it brings some knowledge to you. Stay tapped in. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscriptions. Now, when both the lights, Aquarius and the moon, the sun and the moon, excuse me, the emotional tone and conscious focus align, this creates unified awareness and feeling. Realizations is one of the words that I've recognized. A strong future focus, collective thinking, detachment from emotional drama to the best of the ability, a desire for change. This is not a sentimental moment, but I wrote that down because Aquarius is an air sign, so it deals with the intellect. And quite simply, if we look here, the house placement of the sun and the moon, we find it aligning in the 12th house. So even though this is a futuristic and new beginning energetic, it's placed in a compartment that deals with dissolving. So there's a beginning of dissolve, right? A beginning of comprehending the end. There's a little bit of secrecy there. It's a start and a beginning to secrecy and knowledge, truth undiscovered, hidden truths undiscovered. That's interesting here in these for the collective. We can apply this to the chart. We can apply this. I can apply this to my chart. You can apply this to your chart as well. If you look and see where Aquarius is located. But in addition, you also, by looking at the chart for the moment in your area, your city and state, it will give you a natural blueprint for this new beginning. Um, they say it's not sentimental. I put it down as not being a sentimental because Aquarius is an air sign, but it does have some sentiment with Pisces. Moving forward, clear-minded emotional objectivity. A clear mind. Happy birthday. Today's your birthday. Welcome in. Thank you for the like and the subscription. People may feel I know what needs to change. Aquarius is one of the four fixed signs. It's interesting because Aquarius has this unpredictable nature. It's a changeable sign. It looks for change, although it doesn't always like change. And it originally is an anchored, it's a pivot point. What I mean by pivot point, and what I mean by pivot point is that Aquarius signifies the middle of winter. So it's fixed. So thankful that we're towards the end of Aquarius and approaching, the sun is approaching Pisces because it marks the end of winter. We've made it. We're well past the midpoint for weather purposes. Now comes the rainy season a little bit, but change and unpredictable change simultaneously if you comprehend the nature of Aquarius. It's anchored in that it's the middle of the season, but it's changeable. And it looks for change in its nature. You can think of a lightning rod that comes out of the sky, right? And how a lightning rod moves, so unpredictable. That can be paralleled, or we can use the lightning rod and its action, the frequency of a lightning rod, to explain and describe the frequency and the nature of this Aquarian energy. Okay. So with this new moon, I also want to share with you the importance of the planet or planets that rule Aquarius because they're highlighted. You hear me talk about rulerships a lot. What that is for Aquarius is Uranus. Uranus, this planet here, it's a planet that rules Aquarius. So quite essentially and energetically, Aquarius is tied. Wherever Uranus is, we can find this Aquarian energy present. Uranus is in Taurus right now, so it has to do with values. Interesting how Uranus is positioned in the third house, and the third house has to do with mindset. The new moon is in the 12th house, in the house of dissolving, in the house of the hidden. Right? So when it comes to the internal dialogue, the internal emotional base, the inner world may be beneficial to incorporate mindsets that bring value to you. Maybe speaking about yourself in a forward light, progressive light. Uranus is fully awake now. Why the word awake significant, dealing with the moon and the sun in Aquarius, it awakens this planet. I usually say activated or amplified, but awakened is descriptive. What's going on here? The other planets are still awake too. They're still awake too, but because the sun and the moon are in Aquarius, Uranus is a little more awake. And so it activates Taurian themes. In some schools of thought, or in a shadow side of Uranus, it can be a disruptor. It can disrupt things a little bit. Disruptions can be good and they can be bad. We'll get into that. But Uranus disrupts money systems and value systems, security structures, comfort zones, personal value, what we rely on materially. This connection. So we have 12th house activity, third house activity for this knowledge and disruption. That can actually end up being something that poses well for us, for the individual. I've been saying for quite some time that there's a benefit when we look at the shadowy side of things or the challenges that we experience or tension in our life. There's benefit that comes from it. We'll get into that in a later video. But what I'm trying to say is direct motion equals forward momentum when it comes to this direction, this disruption. And I get that from the current transit of Uranus. Uranus is just recently in its direct motion as opposed to retrograde. Jupiter's retrograde. We know this in this chart system because the color of the numbers, when the colors are red, then it denotes retrograde in the system. So it's active. This Uranus and Taurus asks, what is truly stable, if you will. And if you also look closer here, you see Uranus at 27 degrees, 32 arcminutes of Taurus, which is towards the end. Each zodiac sign is 30 degrees. And so it's approaching Gemini. How we think from security systems to thought processes, if you will. And because this is a second approach, this is the second time that Uranus will be ingressing back into Gemini. Themes are returning, they're starting to return, and questions resurface surrounding are your ideas flexible? Interesting. Flexible is Gemini. Gemini is a mutable sign, learning how to adapt to disruption. Can your mindset evolve? Interesting. This is highlighted here. As your thinking aligned with reality. So its relationship, Uranus to Aquarius, as Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the sun and the moon are looking to Uranus for direction. It's kind of like it's saying change is not optional. The tension between Aquarius ideals and Taurus values becomes productive. And like I said, it's an innovative, challenging comfort. What does that mean? It means you come up with ideas and ways to manage through the storm, is what it makes me think of. Emotionally and consciously. Emotionally, moon, consciously, the sun. They're aligned towards progress, reform, future thinking, while the material world is shifting underfoot. And soon, the mental world will be next. This is the core of the energy. So, this new moon in Aquarius brings a moment of clearer vision, awakened values. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, but it does show the ending of our comfort zone, and we start to see the beginning of incoming intellectual revolution. That's interesting for technology and the internet. That's going to be interesting over the course of the next 7 years. Now that I'm talking about this um, new moon in Aquarius, because the things that happen, well, the sun and the moon sets the stage for the month or for 30 days from its point. I don't know if I shared that, but this is Tuesday morning for those that are in the East Coast, if you will. Welcome in. How are you? So, the translation, you could say we are emotionally ready for change, Aquarius, materially being challenged to redefine stability, Taurus, and as Uranus approaches Gemini, mentally preparing for a new way of thinking. It's a time of unified vision pushing forward while values are being reshaped and our thinking prepares to evolve. All right, so there's that. Thank you for listening. I'm going to keep these notes open. Now we're going to go to the stage of the live where y'all put zodiac signs in the comments, and I share with you this new moon energy a little bit. New moon in Aquarius, incoming. Aquarius, Taurus, and Uranus are subjects. Aries is here. Depending on your location in the world, Pisces may not be rising. So maybe I'll get into rising signs, maybe not. But quite simply, for your daughter, the relationship that Aries is to Aquarius points directly to friend for your daughter. Tell your daughter that there's a need to become aware of her friend, not to um, think of it as a good or a bad thing, but just notice that it's highlighted. There's awakening. It's awakened. I look at the lights because the sun and the moon are the lights. I think of an actual flashlight. So it shines a light on friends. Hey, what are you doing, sir? Imagine a police officer coming up to you in the park. Let's say the park is closed. And you're doing your thing. You don't even see the police officer, and a police officer comes over, shines a light. Hey, what's going on here? Oh, nothing, officer. We were just talking. Okay, all right. Well, park closes in 5 minutes. Okay, officer. All right. No, we're just checking. And at the same time, that would be Aquarius in its relationship to Aries. And at the same time, Uranus and Taurus points to values a little bit and security and comfort. So, in long story short story long, friends and values. I think of the song. What about your friends? Are they gonna be around? Are they gonna let you down? Yeah, that's a song. Some of you have never heard that song. Google it, YouTube it, put it in the search engine. What about your friends? This is the highlight here. This is interpretation for Aries. In addition, it also points to Aries goals. It's a perfect time to create a vision board or write down some of the things that you'd like to achieve. It also says to me a gratitude list, not for nothing, and for something at the same time, because Taurus is about values. Welcome in. Good morning. How are you? Hope your morning is going well. Thank you for the subscriptions and the likes. Okay, so tell your daughter that and write down a list. Make a list. After Aries or across the street from Aries is always Libra. Aries and Libra are in a forever ship, I call it. What's a forever ship? It's a coin I termed that can be defined as a relationship that you'll always see. Always and forever. Aries, the sign of the leader, the warrior, is always in a relationship with Libra, principle of justice and the weighing of decisions by putting our thoughts on a scale. This is me holding the scale. You're supposed to imagine a line with a crossbar and two holding dishes. I'm holding it like a scale. That's why I do like this. Anyway, so for Libra, this is going to be a trying couple of years for you Libras, and it's going to be great. But I don't want to put a fear factor into it because I'm learning how to see the planet Saturn as a teacher. Libra, you're going to learn so much this year, so much, and it's already begun. Now that Saturn is in Aries in your relationship, but we'll get into that. For Libra, um, this new moon highlights it shines a light on your creativity, some of your gifts, right? What are you good at? What do you enjoy? Your enjoyments, right? For the next 30 days, not for nothing. And we could tie in this Uranus and Taurus here. So it renews you. There's being renewed by tapping into your joys. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. The whole month, at least taking a little bit of time. I know you might have to work, you might have, things to do, but set aside time, things that make your heart happy. The sun and the moon are in a relationship with Libra That points to the inner joys. Not for nothing. Yeah, you can tell your daughter to come back and listen to it. You can show her, here, listen to this part. Right? Scroll back. Um, Zodiac signs in the comments. Flood the comments. Spam the comments with zodiac paraphernalia. Let's do it. And I'll share with you the relationship with your zodiac sign in Aquarius. New moon here. Virgo. What about Virgo? What about Virgo? Virgo in Aquarius, the relationship is an earth air relationship. The gut mind might be a little bit more active. A little bit. There's a light, the police officer, metaphorically. We talked about how the sun and the moon are the lights. So I created a story, a short story. Imagine a police officer shining a light on you in the park. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, get out of there. Get out of the bushes. Park's closing in 5 minutes. Right? It shines a light on your health and routines. Simple routines, like getting up and doing those squats that you wanted to do after you brush your teeth, or before you even get out of bed. Maybe you had an idea. Maybe you're like, I want to start stretching before I get up. Before I get out of the bed, I don't want to get up so fast. Take my time. Right? Health practices, physical and mental too. You might need a time this month over the course of the next 30 days where you just sit down, go over some things that have been working, things that have not been working. That's health, not only physical, it's also mental. Leo, Virgo, cusp. You're either one or the other. I know what you mean, but it's here. Cancer, Leo, Virgo, ish here, right? For Leo, it points directly to relationships. So the Leo part of you that you identify with points to relationships. It shines a light on relationships directly. I would advise you don't get caught in utilizing so much energy to defend yourself on matters that are trivial. That's what comes. And the Virgo side of you, it goes back to health. It goes back to health and routines, health routines. Not for nothing. Cancer, here. Cancer is here. Symbol of the crab. I also look at Cancer as the tortoise. Excuse me. I was on the beach in Puerto Rico and I seen these little crabs out of the corner of my eye. They were digging so fast they pop up out of the sand. Kind of horseshoe crabs or whatever kind of crabs they were. Right? There's different kinds of crabs, but they're protective. They got this hard shell. It's so soft on the inside. But anyway, Cancer's here. Um, the reason why I even mentioned that is because you can get a lot. I've gotten a lot. You can get a lot if you have an open mind to the animal or the animal that's associated with that zodiac sign and look at the function of the animal. You can find the character traits energetically to know the frequency. But Cancer is emotional, it's protective, right? It's a water sign, tapped into the emotions. And its relationship with Aquarius is creates this frequency that points to themes surrounding rebirth. Quite simply looking for a rebirth and renewal. And I don't want to leave out this symbol here. This is Jupiter here. Right? For the past 6 months, 7 months, Jupiter's been in Cancer, having a good time, having a great time, performing well. So you may recognize that you've been learning a lot. And so this new moon in Aquarius, being that it's an air element and deals with the intellect, there might be some knowledge that you come across that actually really um, brings you back to life, or realizations have a transformative effect on you. You see, also has a transformative effect. How you value other people, not for nothing. This for cancers, this new moon, I've been talking about the sun and the moon in Aquarius, but I can't leave out Uranus and Taurus here. Because as we read earlier, the sun and the moon are kind of looking for Uranus for direction. So if we look at it like that, then cancers, you're looking to your friends to assist in this transformation. You're renewed through your friendships. That's interesting. That is interesting. Zodiac signs in the comments. Thank you for your subscription and your like. Talking about the sun and the moon in Aquarius here. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you. Collectively, Aquarius is the sign that has to do with groups of people, quite simply. Aquarius essentially is the collective. Associates, acquaintances, friends. And with Uranus and Taurus, values, values and mindset, as it's so close to Gemini. We'd have to look at your chart a little bit more, see where children are. In astrology, the fifth house is the house of children. Perhaps if you look at the zodiac sign that is in the fifth house, it will shed some light on the frequency surrounding children. Sun in Capricorn, raising Cancer, Moon Scorpion with a K. Interesting. Love it. Let's look at Capricorn. Let's look at Capricorn. Capricorn, quite simply, this new moon shines a light on your finances, your pocket, your purse, your bank account, your wallet, the wallet that you keep in your purse, whatever you hold your funds in, materially as well as intellectually. It has a lot. This past month and this upcoming 30 days has a lot to do with how you value yourself and your own what's inside your own constitution. It's interesting. How well you love yourself and value yourself. Huge, huge features if you look at your life over the course of the past 30 days. And it could be as simple as the little phrases that you choose to say about yourself. You notice that? You know, I'm pointing here because this is Capricorn. After Capricorn is Aquarius. I'm starting to look at this thing as like a wave. When you go to a baseball stadium, maybe not a baseball stadium, maybe baseball, football, college stadium. They do this wave. Capricorn or Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, waves. The peak of the wave is in Aquarius, is where it's peaking in the area of finances for you and your creativity. Capricorn has Uranus in an area of the chart that points to your joys. How do you entertain yourself? What gets your heart going and make you feel like, wow, I'm amazing, so amazing. Welcome in. Zodiac signs in the comments. Thank you for the subscription. Thank you for the likes. New moon in Aquarius. You have Saturn and Pisces in the fifth house. Well, congratulations to you. Imagine a crowd cheering for you as you graduate and walk across the podium. Energetically, Saturn is now in Aries, 0 degrees. You made it. It's not over because life is a wave. Life is a continuous wave. Ooh, I like that. Ooh. And when it comes to astrology, the top of the wave can be associated with the zodiac sign. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, life is but a wave. Ooh, and Aquarius is the top of the wave right now. And just under the top of the wave, Taurus is up there too, just underneath the top, looking at values. Perfect. So if you have Pisces in the fifth house, you have Scorpio on the ascendant. You didn't give me the sun sign. Okay. You just wanted to look at Scorpio on the ascendant. For Scorpio, the relationship points to themes surrounding your living circumstances, the comfort that you have in the home, even looking at your roots a little bit, where you come from, you know, remembering the family, the mother, the father, the grandfather, the grandmother, you know, points to your heritage a little bit and your foundation, the foundation of the relationships. And that looks at the relationship that you've had within the family. Interesting. Learning how to value family members. You notice that? Thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate you. You can come back tomorrow morning. I'm on a quest to do 90 days of lives. I haven't even gotten to 30 yet. We're doing good. Have I gotten to 30? I'm close. I'm approaching 30 days. So thank you so much. Sidebar. New moons, um, a close sidebar. New moons are about beginnings. It's like the first of the month energetically. What are we at? 15th? We're at February 18th. What I didn't put in my notes is that new moons are like the beginning of the month. You know, what do I mean? Am I saying? I'm saying that it's a perfect time to check yourself, have a little reset with yourself, and maybe set a short little goal or something that you want to observe. I haven't really been setting too many goals and resolutions this year in 2026. What I've been doing is I've been more observing. I think the winter is a time of observation, if you will. That's just me. And so we have like this wave of beginnings coming. We have Saturn ingressed into Aries, close to the new moon. It was a couple days ago. All right. We have the new moon on Tuesday, and then 2 days after the new moon, the sun ingresses into Pisces. You know, it's like overlapping waves. Life is but a wave. Scorpio sun, Libra rising. Let's look at it. Someone who's mostly about values, mostly about values there with the Scorpio sun. I don't know if you heard, but we talked about how this full moon points to your roots, your emotional, your internal emotional base. You know, the part not too many people see this side of you. You know, how do you get yourself motivated? Is my question, or a question that you can ask yourself. The relationship that Scorpio is to Aquarius, that points to our memory from the past of how we were raised, in contrast to how we're performing now or our experiences now. Right. And in addition to that, it causes us to look at our family and our relationships in the family in contrast to people that we are in current relationship with. and what we've learned and or what's being disrupted, what needs to be balanced. Not for nothing. Welcome in. Zodiac signs in the comments. Zodiacus. You know, this Aquarian energy, I'm just talking about the sun and the moon. We also have Mars and Pluto there too, so it's a little more intensity there. You know, Venus and Mercury just left Aquarius. They're in Pisces, swimming around right now. We didn't talk about that either. I wanted to focus on Aquarius and Uranus, but there's other elements. What I'm trying to say is that Aquarius being an air sign, there's been a lot of discovery for the people in the solar system, including you. Because Aquarius is itself the sign of being awakened. Not only do we have the lights, the sun and the moon in alignment, which light is associated with being. I want to say awoken. I don't know if it's awoken, awakened, awake, awoke, similar frequency. The sun and the moon, the light is something that awakens you, and Uranus is an awakened sign. Aquarius, I mean, I said Uranus because Uranus rules Aquarius, but Aquarius is the sign that points to womankind, mankind, people kind. It also points to inventions. You know, Aquarius is that frequency where you're like, oh, it's that light bulb at the top of the head. Oh, it's the it's the uh it's the Thoth or Tahuti or the Hermes Trismegistus energetic. Oh, the idea comes out of nowhere, or it appears to be out of nowhere. You know, you're sitting there, you're just gazing off into the out the window, and a thought pops in your mind. Boom! Oh, play the lotto. You know, that is Aquarius energetic. Comment says the moon symbolizes profound wisdom through its cyclical nature, representing the ebb and flow of life, intuition, and divine feminine energy. Thank you for that. I would agree. She's the she, while we're talking about feminine energy, is in everyone's chart, and she moves so quickly. She moves so quickly. This new moon is on Tuesday, so I'm a day ahead, a morning ahead. Tuesday morning at 7ish, right around sunrise. That in itself it can be symbolic too. Not only is it a new moon, for those in the East Coast, not only is it a new moon, but the new moon occurs at a time during sunrise. Symbolic to being awakened. Aquarius is awakened. The sun just the eye opening, awakened. The lights awakening. Excuse me. Hmm. Thank you for all this wisdom. Thank you. Thank you for the subscription and the like. Appreciate you. It can be feminine. We can interpret it as feminine and masculine, being that it's in everybody's chart, right? It both work. It works for both, right? Just like the sun. Sun can be looked at as a masculine energy as well as a feminine energy. They all have their sides to it. depending on what school of thought you're coming from, but it all works. All right, that's what I have for today. Um, Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next video. Enjoy your day.